Welcome along to Parnell Park for this Dublin Senior Football Championship Round 3 encounter. A delayed first round encounter due to a positive COVID test. We're glad to report that everyone is okay. That's the most important thing. The second most important is being out playing football. It is a high stakes game for both of these two. It's not what you'd call particularly clear cut, particularly for Plunketts. If Raheny win or draw, they're through, and Castleknock will go out. For Plunketts, it's somewhat more complicated. Even a win may not be enough to put them through. Let's have a look at the teams, because there's standout players in both of the starting 15s, the 15s that we've been given anyway. There might be some level of change. Niall Walsh is one of the ones who outside of Dublin might not be too heralded, but inside Dublin club football, everyone knows how good this guy is. Rory O'Connor, solid at the back. Bernard Broganwell, that's a name that speaks for itself. They've got some other good performers and hard workers there as well, including Sean Bugler, who can really take a game by the scruff of the neck. He was very impressive even in defeat against Crokes at Martin Savage Park a couple of weeks ago. He scored 1-4 in that game, and he really did damage against Crokes, who did pull away in the end and did look comfortable throughout most of the second half, having had a good first half. But Sean Bugler never gave up. And in that match, Plunketts lost a man quite early. So for them to score what they did against Crokes was actually quite impressive. Granted, on that occasion they were leaky at the back. If they've managed to find a balance there, they have a real chance tonight. Let's have a look at the Raheny team. Well, Brian Howard and Brian Fenton, what a midfield. That is a midfield that any county team would be glad to have. They've got some solid players around them as well. Rutherson Wheel is a hard worker. He gets up and down the park. Gavin Ivory is capable of plundering a goal or two. And then you've got Ivers, Greenham and Keogh, all standout club players. Raheny taking on Plunketts here in, I was going to say, the sunshine of Parnell Park, but just before we came on air, the sun went behind the clouds. It is still relatively warm though for this vital game of football. Castleknock, no doubt, watching on nervously, because their progression or otherwise in the Dublin Senior Football Championship really does depend on what happens in this game this evening. Plunketts, by the way, will play in the navy jerseys with the yellow stripes and the yellow numbers. Raheny will play in the mostly white strip this evening. I hope you've been enjoying the service we have provided on Dubs TV over the last couple of weeks in this most unusual of championships. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Football and hurling, and I suppose any sport without a crowd, well, it's not ideal, is it? But it's better than nothing, and due to modern technology, we are able to watch it, and that's good. We can still support our teams. We just have to do it at a bit of a distance. But I'm sure we'll hear a massive cheer from Raheny, or a massive cheer from Plunketts, or a massive cheer from Castleknock, depending on what happens in this game tonight, if the result goes either of those teams' way. Kilmacud Crokes were also in this group, by the way, but their progress unaffected by this. The group is won by them already, so they're just interested spectators like the rest of us. If Plunketts were to defeat Raheny, by the way, then both of those clubs and Castleknock would be on 2 league points. So a mini table of games, including matches involving group winners, Crokes would decide second place. We'll come back to that in a second, because it is the national anthem. A bit of an applause from the subs. They really have to do a job tonight, don't they, to get behind their team and make some noise. The referee is Paul Faulkner, and the teams are Raheny and St Oliver Plunketts Owen Rowe. And you can argue Castleknock as well, because what happens tonight really does affect them. A win or a draw for Raheny would see them book a place in the quarter-final. Whoever comes out of the group in second place, by the way, will take on Ballyboden St Enda's this Sunday at 2 o'clock here in Parnell Park, and that's a game you'll be able to watch live on Dubs TV. So Ballyboden interested spectators as well, but spectators in a sense that they're already through. 3 teams involved, just 1 spot in the quarterfinals. Here we go. Referee throws in the ball and away we go. Dunleavy got a punch in it there. Gareth Nesty Smith, the former Cavan player, puts it down to Niall Walsh. He can move and he can shoot. Doesn't catch that one right. And it's easily gathered by Heaps, who lets it go to Brian Fenton. Fenton down the line to Howard. Howard and Fenton will roam where they're needed for this Raheny team. It's a beautiful evening. Howard's still going. Bounces into James O'Donoghue. Raheny tried to find a way through. Recycle to Fenton. Fenton, lovely ball to Grenham. Grenham is bottled up, but he does get a little time and does get a little space and does get a big point. It's that point of the match where we look around and see if there's any late switches on the teams that have been named and have been given to us. Craig Dunleavy, who's a really industrious midfielder now. It's Dara Brogan. Craig Dunleavy on it again. He'll be on it an awful lot. Puts a high one inside. It's 2-on-2. Bernard Brogan is waiting for it. Doesn't come to him. Ivory was also trying to get there. Now it's collected by Owen Keogh. Or I beg your pardon, Gareth Nesty Smith. And he does put it over. Sean McMahon goes to ground, spills it, but only as far as Brogan. Brogan inside, chasing after it is Gareth Nesty Smith. Smith lays it off, it's pushed home. Killian Hayes. Well, I thought Smith might have gone for it himself, but Hayes had an open goal and he pushed it home. It was a bit like Brian Looney's goal for Dr. Crokes, was it last weekend or the weekend before? Granted, Hayes scored his without injuring himself. Hopefully Brian Looney will be okay, because he'd be a big loss for Dr. Crokes. Anyway, coming forward now is Sean McCarthy. Brian Fenton inside. This already an open game. Look at the way Fenton held that ball with one hand. Got it off to Grenham, who's already got 1 point. Grenham to Reel. Plunketts break down the park. Niall Walsh comes deep. Goes on the underlapping run. Sean Bugler. Bugler's in space. Beautiful movement of the football by Plunketts. Lost his footing. Does manage to recycle it. O'Donoghue to Gareth Nesty Smith, who sends over his second one. Still doing it after all these years, Gareth Nesty Smith. But there's bad news, because Sean Bugler is still down for Plunketts. Or is that Killian Hayes? No, it's Sean Bugler. He'd be a huge loss. Well, at the time, the restrictions were at 200, and I was one of the lucky ones who got along to Martin Savage Park. I can't overstate how good Sean Bugler was in that game. So they will desperately want to keep him on. Anyone who's been following football in Dublin over the last couple of years knows how good Sean Bugler is. He'll stay in a corner forward. Heaps goes short. Sean Byrne. Out it goes to Howard. Tug back there on Rudderson Reel, and it's a cheap free to give away. Howard. Not a man you want to leave unmarked. That's what Plunketts did for a second. Here's Sean McMahon. Howard again. Howard is a man screaming for it. He spots him. Back it goes to Fenton. Fenton. Lovely point. Already the big players are showing their wares in this game. It's wonderful to see. Lovely interplay. Nice pop off. Good finish by Fenton. Lost by Dunleavy. Goes out over the line. It will be a line ball though to Plunketts. Making a darting run out is Sean Grenham. He does get it. He got away there from Shatwell. But Shatwell recovered well and gives it inside. Collected by Keogh. Back out to Howard. Fenton wants it and gets it. He measures, he shoots, and he has got another fantastic score. Two in a row for Fenton. Plunkett still leading by 2. Sean O'Connor. McManus. Liam Fleming got his hands on it. Now it's Sean Bugler. Smith. It's a risky one. Niall Walsh does rescue it. Under pressure from Shatwell. Walsh turning and twisting, trying to get inside Shatwell. Nesty Smith. Plenty of options. Sean Moran ran into a bit of space. He wasn't spotted. Now it's Liam Fleming. Fleming was aiming for Ty Anderson, but it just wouldn't fall to him. Now trying to close his man down is Sean Bugler. Brian Howard steps around McCarthy. Howard gets us going. Receives it back. Howard turns on the afterburners. That's a good pass. Can they finish off this move? It's Sean Grenham. Didn't take the right option. Sean O'Connor. It's being played at a frantic pace. Free out for Plunketts. Smith couldn't keep a hold of it, but he was pushed in the back. Referee lets it go though. David Shatwell, now it's Rutherson Reel. 2 9s, Clyde, Howard and Bugler. 2 of Dublin's finest. Here's Sean McMahon. That's a very neat turn by Ivers. And he puts it over the crossbar. Really good score. Great mark, well taken. Inside it goes, looking for Owen Keogh. Owen Keogh, here's the shout from Fenton. It does fall to Fenton. Now it's Ivory. Great save by the goalkeeper. Ivers again. Chance still there, off the woodwork. And that is one that Plunketts have got away with. What a fine stop by Gavin Brown, the goalkeeper. At point blank range from Ivory. Raheny sweeping forward again. Here's Grenham. Has to go back to Brian Fenton. Fenton pursued by Sean O'Connor. Fenton still going. O'Connor still after him. Nonchalantly to McCarthy. Neat turn by Ivory. Has a look at the posts. And gets a very fine score. Scored 1-3 against Plunketts in a championship game last year. He's off the mark tonight, Ivory, with that really good point. A long way to go, but a draw would do for Raheny. Shatwell. Owen Keogh. Reela was screaming for it on the far side. Not sure if you could see that on camera, but in the ground it was very obvious. Here's Sean McMahon. McMahon jinxing inside. Gets past two. Wonderful football. Fenton is such a presence. Ball falls to Dara Keogh. Back to Fenton. Reela wants it. A pass that is measured perfectly. Reel up against Nesty Smith. Reel inside. Plunketts dropping very deep. Can Raheny open them up? Owen Keogh. James O'Donoghue stuck to him. Does manage to pop it up to Darren Byrne. Out they go. Into the hands of Ivory. Back out to Reel. Sean McMahon brings it into a kinder angle. McMahon does get the pass away, and Sean Grenham squeezes that one over. Second point for Grenham. We had been level for the first time since the second minute just before that. It's now 5 in a row for Raheny. Plunketts over 10 minutes since they've scored. Can Raheny come up with a response? Or Plunketts, I should say. Plunketts going through the lines. Craig Dunleavy. Smith. They have to go backwards, but they do keep the football. Sean Moran. Bugler. Niall Walsh came out to meet Bugler, but Bugler stays going. O'Donoghue. Niall Walsh. Out it goes to Sean O'Connor. Niall Walsh made a run, but he wasn't spotted. James O'Donoghue. Dara Brogan. Bernard Brogan. Brogan still going. That is an excellent score from Bernard Brogan. His team need him, and he has stood up. Real. Keogh moved it on. Now it's Sean McMahon. Brian Howard. McMahon back to Howard. Really good ball to Gavin Ivory. Brian Fenton. Potential goal on Fenton! I think it was Darren Byrne who cut down the right and gave it inside to Fenton. That is a beautifully worked goal. Fenton at the heart of it. Darren Byrne inside to Fenton, and our second volleyball style goal of the game. And we're at the water break. And it's looking good for Raheny. As it stands, they are going through to the quarterfinals to take on Ballyboden St Enda's. A lot of football to be played yet, though. Some of these scores worth looking at again. Grenham stroking that one over. Nesty Smith, still such a reliable performer, still such a crafty finisher. The goal coming from Killian Hayes for Plunketts. At the moment where Sean Bugler injured himself, he is okay, he has played on. And Nesty Smith at it again. Dispossessed but regathered. Brian Howard cool under pressure. Brian Fenton there where you want him to be and there when he's needed. He's got such a big frame, Brian Fenton. He's got an unusual style of kick, but it works for him. He's so accurate. So here we go. We resume with the Plunketts kick out. They have to be so careful here. Ivers was after that one. Fouled his man free out for Plunketts. Brian Fenton. Almost pickpocketing Dunleavy. Now it is picked up by Owen Keogh. Byrne, who created the goal, into the hands of Sean McCarthy. Brian Fenton again, inside to Grenham. Grenham, oh, that's a poor pass. It's going to be intercepted though. Here's Dara Keogh. Ivory. Fenton. Howard. Howard receives it back. Shotwell. Fenton. Ivory. Ivory squeezes in between two. Doesn't get the free though. Now Plunketts need to move quickly if they can. Nesty Smith. Bugler making a run. Goes outside. Ty Anderson goes long. Niall Walsh is the target. It kind of falls to Walsh. Not cleanly though. And Raheny do enough. Heaps got off his line. Just got away a little bit from Niall Walsh there. He'll be frustrated with that. Here's Grenham. Rutherson Reel. Been around a while now, Rutherson Reel. Brian Howard. Fenton. Howard wants it. Sean McMahon. Rutherson Reel. Recycle to Grenham. On Kyo. Brian Howard. Brian Howard charges on. Out it goes to Darren Byrne. Darren Byrne. It's possibly going to drop. It does. And luckily for Plunketts, it fell to Rory O'Connor. Sean Moran. Nesty Smith. Nesty Smith carries. Goes to Dara Brogan. Sean Bugler. Good run by Bugler, who's up against Brian Fenton. Oh, took a big hit and gets a free in. Bernard Brogan, who's already got one from play. Well rested following his trip to West Cork. I'm not stalking him, by the way, he put pictures up on social media. Brogan. Doesn't have enough. Shadwell. Howard. Tries to get away from Brogan. Coming in to help out to Sean O'Connor, but Brogan had fouled Howard and it's a free out. Well, I saw someone come on. I didn't see anyone going off. I think Craig Dunleavy is going to go off now. I presume he's injured because he is a very important player for Raheny or Plunketts. Touched on the ground and it's a free out. Plunketts get a break. They need one. Here's Moran. Nesty shows for it. However, it is Sean O'Connor who carries on to Niall Walsh. Walsh down the line. Good ball it was as well. Here is Bernard Brogan. Brogan inside to Niall Walsh. Niall Walsh from an awkward angle. He was well covered and Ben McHugh got hands on that and just took any sting out of it. Now it's Heaps. As it stands, it's nice and simple. Raheny will go through. Castleknock and Plunketts will go out. Sean McMahon. Darren Byrne. David Shatwell. Sean Byrne. Darren Byrne. Fenton. Fenton in full flight. Bounces back up. Sean McCarthy. Hooks it wide. First wide for Raheny. Fenton almost looks like he's gliding when he moves that quickly down the park. Conor Breslin, who's just on the pitch having replaced Dunleavy. Niall Walsh comes out to meet it. He's fouled. Brogan wants it. He has a man inside. That's Killian Hayes, who's already got one goal. Brogan with 3 chasing him. Anderson. Dara Brogan. Slips and Ty Anderson pounces. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Dara Keogh pounces. And another poor ball from Plunketts. They've wasted an awful lot of possession in or around and inside that 20-metre line. Raheny come looking for more. No score for either team since the water break. Rutherson Reel. Good hand in there. Falls the way of Liam Fleming. Fleming inside to Niall Walsh. Brogan's inside, but he's well covered. Sean Bugler. Bugler. Can he draw that in? No. I'm not so sure Sean McMahon knew that was coming. Lays it off to Brian Howard. Rutherson reel. Sean O'Connor went to ground. He's back up. Rutherson reel. Went backwards. Now it's Raheny who are controlling. Sean McMahon there again. Brian Howard. Nesty Smith tries to close him down. Brian Howard gets his pass away to Ben McHugh. David Chatwell. Fenton. Fenton chased by Breslin now. Sean O'Connor comes in to try and stop him, but Fenton gets the ball away to Howard. Sean McMahon. Running onto it is Chatwell. Back it goes to Ivory. Ivory got the ball away. He thought maybe he should have had a free. Here's Owen Keogh. Rutherson reel. Gets away from Walsh. Reel! Off the woodwork. He's really unlucky. Liam Fleming tries to rescue it now for Plunketts. He does get the ball up. He's under pressure from Sean McCarthy. Plunketts play their way out of trouble. I know it's relatively early in the game, but had that got into the net, you would think that there was no real way back for Plunketts. McManus. Sean O'Connor. Breslin. Breslin has a go. Second one that they've dropped short, and you just might have heard a shout from the sideline. I presume it came from one of the Plunketts mentors. He just said, lads, scoring zone. Maybe it came from one of the players. Real. With the woodwork still rattling from his shot a couple of seconds ago. Brian Howard. Sean Byrne. McMahon. Howard. McMahon. McMahon inside Nesty Smith. Leaves him for dust. Sean Bugler does his best to get there. Pushes McMahon wide. Sean McCarthy. Ivers to Howard. Strong take from Rutherson reel. Or beg your pardon, it's Gavin Ivory. He overcarried though, and it's a free out. Well, this is a chance a couple of minutes ago. Rutherson reel cracking it off the woodwork. Bugler receives it back from Breslin. Niall Walsh. Walsh gets through a gap. Reel brings him down. Free in for Plunketts. Brian Fenton with the goal for Raheny just before the water break. Palming it into the net. Killian Hayes with the goal before that for Plunketts. Also palmed into the net, by the way. Referee bringing forward the free to the 20-metre line, and this is one Nesty would score with his eyes closed. Well, I'm not quite sure what they were trying there, but it didn't work. Brian Howard. Intercepted by O'Donoghue. O'Connor. Breslin. Killian Hayes. Hayes through a crowd. Sean O'Connor. Back inside. He's going for a second goal, Hayes. He won't get it, but he lays it off for Breslin. Breslin! Wide. Some good work by Plunketts, but again, the end product was lacking. Heaps gives that one plenty. Howard gets his hands to it, but it falls down to Brogan. Now Walsh. Bernard Brogan's hovering on the edge of the square. They try and go low to him. Good ball. Off it goes to Nesty Smith. Nesty Smith to narrow the gap just before the break, and he has. Good score. His third from play. Kept in play by Byrne. Into the path of Sean Byrne from Darren Byrne. Brian Fenton. Fenton around Breslin. Good ball inside. Falls the way of Grenham. Grenham to Ivers. Gavin Ivory. Last ditch stuff from Plunketts. And they win the free out. Breslin. Intercepted by Rutherson Reel. Sean McMahon. Sean Byrne. Ivers. Up against McManus. Gets inside McManus. That one's going to drop in the square, and Ivory's trying to get there. Falls the way of Sean McCarthy. McCarthy goes back outside. Juggled by Owen Keogh. And then blocked. Nesty Smith. Into the path of James O'Donoghue. Down the line to Bernard Brogan. Fenton chasing Brogan, two of the greats. Brogan has to cough it up. Sean McMahon. Free out for Raheny. It's end to end, and you cannot say that these teams aren't having a go. They're both going at it hard, and at the break, it's Raheny who lead by 2 as it stands. They are going through. Castleknock and Plunketts are going out, and Ballyboden will play Raheny, but we've got an awful lot of action to come. A very entertaining match so far. Raheny playing in the white, and Plunketts playing in, I suppose, what you call the navy and yellow. Nesty Smith has got 3 points for Plunketts. Killian Hayes got the goal. Bernard Brogan with the point from a free. They had a couple of goal opportunities. They didn't take them. One thinks particularly maybe of Breslin dragging his shot wide from inside the square. For Raheny, Grenham has got a couple of points. Brian Fenton has scored 1-2. Ivers and Ivory also adding points. And they had a goal chance through Rutherson Reel, which absolutely rattled the woodwork. So things could be a bit different. But I think it's fair to say the scoreline is actually a relatively accurate reflection of the game and the way it's being played out. Nesty Smith, by the way, with one of the only scores since the water break, just 1 point since that water break, and that came from Nesty Smith. And despite that, despite only 1 point for the last 15 minutes of the first half, it has been entertaining. We'll be back shortly for the second half at the break in this Dublin Senior Football Championship first round encounter, but in many ways it's essentially knockout. It is Plunketts who trail Raheny 1-6 to 1-4. Well, you had pictures throughout the second half, so in many ways there's no need for me to welcome you back. But the commentary has returned for the second half here in Parnell Park for the Dublin Senior Football Championship Round 3 encounter of Raheny and Plunketts. At the moment, it is Raheny who are going through to the next round. They will play Ballyboden at the weekend. Plunketts need to win by a significant margin to go through. If they win the game without reaching the margin that they need, then it is Castleknock who go through. So Castleknock are fans of Plunketts right now, but only to a certain point. Raheny, a draw will do for them. But just to be clear, if Raheny win or draw, they go through. Plunketts, if they win but by less than 12 points, they'll get the win, but they won't progress. Castleknock will progress. Crokes were obviously in this group as well, but they won all 3 of their games, so they didn't have to worry about anything coming into tonight. Ballyboden, as I say, keen observers. Anthony Rainbow, their manager, the former Kildare player. Here is Brian Fenton. He's off again. He's a thoroughbred. Oh, I jinxed him. Even the gods make mistakes. Breslin. Sean Moran. The aim was Nesty Smith. Does go to his teammate, Sean Moran. Looked to me like he touched it on the ground with his hand, and it's a free to Raheny. Raheny, by the way, in the mostly white jerseys, and Plunketts in the navy jerseys with the yellow. Fenton. Grenham. Fenton with a lovely ball. I think that's Shane Leahy who's come in. Dara Keogh lays it off to Brian Howard. Howard, good hand in from Bugler, but Howard retrieves it. Then gives it away. A little bit sloppy from Raheny at the start of the second half. Niall Walsh. Long delivery from Sean O'Connor, looking for Bernard Brogan. Gets through the hands of Reel. Brogan up against Sean Byrne. Nesty Smith. Niall Walsh runs onto it. It's opened up for Niall Walsh. Walsh! Is that a foot block? Referee doesn't think so. The chance still there for Plunketts. Thrown back out to Ty Anderson. Can Ty Anderson knock this over? Yes, he can. Anderson doesn't tie it up, but he does put just one between them. Great take, really good mark by McCarthy. Keogh on the move. Low it goes to Ivers. In hot pursuit is Michael McManus. Ivers has got Grenham inside. McCarthy, good block. Sean Moran got his hand in the first time but couldn't stop it the second time. And Sean McCarthy gives Raheny a bit of a comfortable margin here. Well, you have to credit Sean McCarthy for his persistence there. Sean Moran with a magnificent and spectacular save of the first attempt, but McCarthy buried the second. And you can hear the groans of disappointment from Castleknock because this is very bad for them. Niall Walsh. Good ball to Killian Hayes. Hayes shimmies, goes back inside to Breslin. Breslin was fouled and it is a penalty. You can hear James O'Donoghue, the centre back, saying we're ball watching, lads. This is the only positive of no fans being here. You can hear an awful lot more of what's going on the pitch. You'd still prefer fans though. Nesty Smith is going to take this one. Nesty Smith to keep Plunkett's quarter-final hopes alive. Slim hopes, but still hopes. The keeper got something on it but couldn't keep it out. And once again, there's one between them. You can't beat raw power, and Nesty Smith has that. McMahon. Fenton. Rutherson Reel. Fenton. Breslin can't stop him. Fenton stays going. Might have a pop himself. He does. It's over. Plunketts feel quite strongly about that one. They think it's wide, but the umpire waved his white flag. Let's have another look. I have to say, when I saw it the first time, I think we would have been going to Hawkeye. I think it would have been wide, but well, the referee is now running into the umpires. The point counts. Brohan went to Sean O'Connor. O'Connor goes out to Sean Moran, who was desperately unlucky on the second goal for Raheny. He made a wonderful save. Dived across Sean McCarthy, but McCarthy, well, it bounced his way again and he didn't miss on the second attempt. Here's Niall Walsh. Lovely shimmy, gets around Ivory. Liam Fleming. Niall Walsh. Good pass. Bugler. Bugler to make it all square. Wide. Castleknock surprise finalists a couple of years ago. On their way out as it stands. Raheny going through. Plunketts also on the way out. Plunketts have made a change coming in. Adam Keating going off is Michael McManus. 24 replaces 4. Ben McHugh. Eventually Breslin gathers, then loses, then gathers again. Sean O'Connor. Booming ball, looking for Brogan. Good hand in from Sean Byrne. Fell for Nesty Smith, but he couldn't get it under control. It is handled on the ground once again, and it's a free in. I think it was David Shatwell this time. How many times has Brogan done this in this ground and so many others? And the results, well, the usual. One between them again. There's a real gathering in the middle there. Almost intercepted by O'Connor. Fenton. Breslin and O'Connor on Fenton. Instead he goes inside to Sean Grenham. Raheny in behind again. If that goes over, it's a wonderful score from a very tight angle. It doesn't. A draw will do for Raheny, by the way. We've had some dramatic ends to the groups in hurling and football. Remember, we brought you St Jude's and Whitehall, and St Jude's won it, but it wasn't actually enough on the day because Falks managed to beat St Bridget's. Trying to get away, Sean Grenham. Sean Moore knocks the ball out of his possession. Ty Anderson. Niall Walsh, a super fit player. Dara Brogan runs onto this. Bernard wants it, Dara gives it to him. Brogan dispossessed, regathers. Doesn't give up on it easily, much to his credit. That's a lovely... Oh, no, it's intercepted by Fenton. Breslin was the target, but it didn't get there. Sean Byrne. Fenton. Brian Howard. Rutherson Reel. Goes long to Grenham. Probing inside his Ivers. Does Grenham need him? He's trying to create the opening for a shot. Calling for it now is Aaron Kelly. Kelly getting away from Dara Brogan. Kelly getting his shot away. But he kicks it wide, Aaron Kelly. Jack Lyons coming in for Raheny. Going off is Sean Grenham. Scored 2 points in the game. Niall Walsh just about got there for Plunketts. Give Sean Moran a bit of work to do, but Sean Moran does get there, much to his credit. Here's Niall Walsh again. Rory O'Connor. Adam Keating. Down the line it goes. Well taken by James O'Donoghue. Has Dara Brogan outside. Instead goes inside to Sean O'Connor. Nesty Smith. Keating. Brogan. Bugler. Bernard Brogan. Niall Walsh. Adam Keating back to Niall Walsh. Niall Walsh fumbles. He's pushed there, surely. Referee playing advantage and then gives the free. Bernard Brogan, who's knocked over 2 from frees. Three from frees now for Bernard Brogan, and we're all square as it stands. Raheny still go through, but it's getting nervy for them. For Plunketts, it's probably too big an ask for them to do what they need to do, which is win by over 11 points. Fenton. Well, they're obviously not watching it together, but I'm sure they're chatting away in the WhatsApp group, all the Castleknock players and fans and supporters, and it's still there for them. It's still a possibility they could be playing Ballyboden at the weekend. Raheny trying to make sure that doesn't happen, but Rory O'Connor turns it over wonderfully. Now it's down to Bugler. Well, that was the aim, but it ran out of pitch, and it's a line ball to Raheny. Rutherson Reel. Can Raheny keep their heads here? Here's Brian Howard. Howard with the shimmy. Howard. That is a sweet, sweet point by Brian Howard. You're seeing why people think he's one of the best young footballers in the country. James O'Donoghue. Has a look up, does Killian Hayes. Got it to Nesty Smith. Nesty going through the gauntlet, gets it back outside to Adam Keating. Bernard Brogan wants it, Keating gives it to him. Inside to Niall Walsh. Walsh, Keating, went too far for Walsh, but it's gathered by Breslin. Now it's Niall Walsh again, and it's blocked down. I think it was David Shatwell. Here's Nesty Smith. And eventually it does go over. Much to Plunkett's credit, they are not giving up. Remember, there's no danger of relegation or whatever for whoever finishes bottom of the group, so it is all or nothing. Just boomed into the middle. Collected by Fleming. Sean O'Connor. Niall Walsh. We will take a breath for a moment. A second half that is flying by so far. I think the referee's going to go with the water break now. Yeah, he does. So as it stands, Raheny are going through, but it's a very close run thing. Remember, if Plunketts win but without a massive gap or massive margin, they are going to win tonight, but they're going out of the championship, and it is Castleknock who'll go through. (2-8) so far for Raheny. As you've seen, it could be a bit more. They have scored some nice points though. Ivory with that one. Sean McMahon has carried the ball forward well. Sean Grenham popping it over. Dara Brogan linking up with Bernard. And Bernard scoring a beautiful point. Owen Keogh has been a lively presence. Rutherson Reel, how unlucky is he here? Very. Breslin knows he should have hit the target. Bernard Brogan there to present himself for it again, and Nesty Smith there to squeeze it over again. 4 points for Nesty Smith from play, plus the goal from the penalty. Brian Fenton. Grenham combining with Ivers, and real last ditch stuff from the shot of Ivory. Liam Fleming there to make sure that Raheny left with nothing. Ty Anderson, just 1 point so far, but it was a good one. Getting in behind with hard running again, Ivers. And how unlucky is Sean Moran here? Good save. But a very skillful finish by Sean McCarthy, because when it came to him the second time, he did have to kind of step away from trouble and get his shot away from a standing position. So I don't think I gave him as much credit as I should have at the time. So here we go. We resume with the Plunketts free. Sean Bugler. Back out to Niall Walsh, who leaves it behind. Ben McHugh. Brian Howard. Howard with the point in either half. Might fancy another one here. No, they can't keep it in play. It goes wide. Plunketts have a man down. It is Sean O'Connor who's down. Coming in for Plunketts is Sean McQueenie. Terry O'Brien, the manager, and his backroom team. It's nervy times for them. Even if they weren't to go through, they'd still want to claim a victory. Breslin gave it away to Brian Howard. Rutherson Reel, Brian Fenton. Darting in behind is Ivers, but they move it short instead. Here's Gavin Ivory. Brian Fenton. Ivory running ahead. Keogh unmarked on the wing. Sean McCarthy. Derek Keogh. Shatwell. Reel is on the far side as you look towards the stand. Here's Fenton. Lovely ball back to Fenton from Ivory. Shatwell. Fenton. Ivory. Ivory goes short. Receives it back. Ben McHugh. Plunketts get around the ball, and winning it back there was Rory O'Connor. The referee said that he did not touch it on the ground. Comes to Sean Moran. Referee wants a word with Ben McHugh here of Raheny. Howard comes over to have a word. Referee doesn't want to know. Yellow card. James O'Kane has come in for Raheny, by the way. Ivory. Fenton. Fenton. Doesn't catch it right. Niall Walsh tries to get there, but it is taken. Sliding into it there was Aaron Kelly, collected by Derek Keogh. Fenton has to dart to get there and does. The new man in is James O'Kane. Can he make a big impact? Yes, he can. Raheny by 1. Michael Grenham is in for Raheny. Derek Keogh is going off. Paul Dempsey making some switches, the Raheny manager. Remember, reaction to this game to come on the social media channels of Dublin GAA. At Dub GAA Official is where you'll find them on Twitter. James O'Kane. Fenton. Rutherson Reel is struggling with injury off camera at the moment. They'll hope to keep him on because he's a lively presence. Speaking of lively presences, here's Fenton. Good take by Gavin Ivory. He wanted someone running off his shoulder, I think, so he just decides to take it on himself. It climbs enough, but it's wide. How are the nerves out in Castleknock? That's what I'm wondering right now. Killian Hayes. Rutherson Reel trying to close him down. That's a big shoulder in Killian Hayes. He overcarried and the referee has given a free in to Raheny. Well, I'd like to see that hit again. Bounces kindly for Michael Grenham. Fenton. Just slows it down. He's never in a rush, is he? James O'Kane. Ben McHugh. McHugh with a lovely shuffle. Finds his man. That's up in the air from Michael Grenham. It falls, luckily it's Ivers. Good save again. Well, Cian Ivers must have thought he was in here, and had he got the goal, it was hard to see Plunketts coming back from it. He got relatively lucky. Michael Grenham was going for a point, but instead it dropped and it bounced for Ivers. But the goalkeeper made a fantastic save once again. Well done, Gavin Brohan. So we resume with the 45. Gavin Ivory. Jack Lyons in there just in case it drops short. It looks like it has the legs, and it runs all the way over the crossbar. Well, we're glad to have you with us this evening. We appreciate that we're in a very privileged position to be actually at the game. For those of you who aren't and who would like to be, well, we hope you're back soon. Ty Anderson. Breslin tries to get there. Fenton shields it and does well. Fenton. Sean McMahon. It's looking good for Raheny now, but there is still time. There's still some twists possibly to come. It's not looking good for Castleknock as it stands. They would go out with Plunketts. Ben McHugh. Oh, there's loads of time and loads of space. Sean McMahon inside. Back to McMahon. Rutherson Reel. Keeper makes another good save. Reel will get a second bite at the cherry. He's wrapped up by James O'Donoghue. Goes back outside to James O'Kane. Aaron Kelly. Michael Grenham. Fenton. Fenton to Ivory. Ivory squeezes it over. It looks like it will be Ballyboden St Enda's and Raheny at the weekend. Ballyboden St Enda's, of course, the defending champions of the Dublin Senior Football Championship. They also won Leinster last year, but unfortunately there will be no Provincial Club Championship this year. The calendar just doesn't allow it. Turning and twisting is O'Kane. Aaron Kelly. Shotwell. Four between them. And Raheny, I think, are marching on. It's tough on Plunketts and their goalkeeper Gavin Brohan, who's actually played really well tonight. He's made some fantastic saves. He's put himself in contention for a Blue Star, judging by what we've seen tonight. And there's a little needless nibble from Nesty. Ref having a word with these linesmen. So what action will he take, if any? It's a red card, and Plunketts will end with 14. It's tough on Gareth Nesty-Smith, who's given so much to Plunketts over the years, including tonight. Scored some nice points, but his 2020 championship will end on the bench. Once again, a red card costing Plunketts. Lost a man very early against Kilmacud Crokes, and it did cost them big time. Dara Brogan bends his back to get that one. Niall Walsh. Walsh has Dara Brogan behind him instead. Goes to the middle, and James O'Donoghue. Sean Bugler. Bernard Brogan wants it. Bugler will go himself and gets a very fine point indeed. A point that keeps Castleknock's hopes alive. Sean Byrne. Sean McMahon. Ben McHugh. Rutherson Reel. James O'Kane lost it. Dara Brogan. Raheny have been sloppy at times. They'll hope that it doesn't cost them. Sean Bugler inside to Niall Walsh. Sean McQueenie. James O'Donoghue. Sean McQueenie. O'Donoghue's left free. Bugler. Bugler. His second point in a row. And maybe there is another twist left in this game. Byrne. Sean McMahon. McMahon, can he settle his team with the score? Nobody wins the free. Rory O'Connor bringing him down. Six points since the water break. In the first half, there was only 1 point scored after the water break. Plunketts without Nesty-Smith, who has been sent off, converted the penalty in the 34th minute and scored 4 points from play. He was having a good night up to that. Gavin Ivory to put Raheny in a more comfortable position and possibly the quarter-finals. Hits it wide. Brogan went after it, couldn't get to it. Raheny in behind again, it's James O'Kane. Over it goes. And that is likely that. Good score by James O'Kane. Moved from his right onto his left and curled it over. Sean Moran. Plunketts lose, then regather. Sean McQueenie got there. James O'Donoghue. McQueenie. Shovel back inside. James O'Donoghue. Bernard Brogan is trying to get under this one. Just couldn't get a fist on it. Good defence by Raheny. Not quite sure who is between Brogan and the goal, but he stood strong. Raheny have sealed their spot in the last 8. They've beaten St Oliver Plunketts by 213 to 210. It was a real ding-dong battle between these two. Plunketts would have probably known from a long way out that they weren't going to go through to the quarterfinals because they needed to win by 11 points plus. For Raheny, any kind of result would do, and that included a draw, and they have got just that. Yes, there are things they can improve on. Was it the perfect display? No, it wasn't. Brian Fenton in picture played incredibly well yet again, kicked some nice scores, created well, gets a hug from Niall Walsh, one of the finest club players in Dublin over the last couple of years. Fenton and Sean Bugler, well, they have a big future together in the colours of Dublin, and it's good to see them sharing a smile. But they won't share passage to the knockout stages. It is Raheny who join Kilmacud Crokes out of this group, and Raheny will play Ballyboden St Enda's, the defending champions, at the weekend. That game is live on Dubs TV, and we have some highlights of the game. And there was some good moments in this match. Killian Hayes, who got a goal, supplying it to Breslin, who won the penalty that 4 minutes into the second half. And Nesty Smith burying it. At that stage, we thought, well, this could go down to the wire, and it kind of did. There was only 3 between them at the end. Brian Fenton, as we say, played well, got some nice points. This was a debatable one. It doesn't matter really in the end because they won by 3. The white flag was raised. The referee did go on afterwards to check with the umpires, but the point did stand. Bernard Brogan kicking some nice scores from frees this evening, almost getting in for a goal at the end. Brian Howard, lovely shimmy. We saw that a number of times from him tonight, and that was a very, very good score. That's why he has the All-Ireland medals. That's why he is an All-Star. Plunketts kept asking questions. Bugler inside to Nesty Smith, and Nesty Smith, despite the pressure that was on him, able to pop that over with the left. Fenton, always there for his team, really stood up this evening. James O'Kane, he was just off the bench when he got this point. His first of 2. Ben McHugh, another one of the players for Raheny who worked incredibly hard this evening. And this was quite literally a lucky bounce for Raheny, but they couldn't take full advantage. What a save from the goalkeeper, Gavin Brown. He made many fine saves for Plunketts this evening. Sean McMahon playing a good one too. Real forcing a save out of Brown. Another one. James O'Kane involved again. Michael Grenham gave to Fenton. Fenton always looking a threat, always took the right option, including in that moment when Gavin Ivory scored. Aaron Kelly combining well with David Shatwell, who took his score with aplomb. James O'Donoghue causing trouble with his roaming forward. Sean Bugler took his point well. And again, none of these were show points. At this stage the game was still in the balance, and it was in the balance until the end. Granted, the stakes weren't high for Plunketts because at that stage they were never going to score enough to get through, but Bugler impressing again. Sean McMahon felled by Rory O'Connor, and at that stage that was it, because you thought they'd put that one away. James O'Kane did put this one away. one of his 2 points, and that was that. And Raheny, well, they're not going wild with celebrations or anything like that because they know they've got a job of work to do at the weekend, and what a job it is. It's not going to be easy. They're up against Ballyboden St Enda's, who've been one of the best club teams in Ireland over the last couple of years. Nesty Smith impressed this evening but got sent off towards the end of the game. For Plunketts, some good performers, but unfortunately for them, they go out. For Raheny, they march on and they have beaten St Oliver Plunketts Own Road by a final score of 213 to 210. Keep an eye on the Dublin GA social media channels for more reaction to this game. And of course, we're back live at the weekend with all the quarterfinals, including that tantalising encounter between Raheny and Ballyboden. From myself, Oisín Langan, and all the team, it is goodbye.